Okay, everybody, Stephen Key at inventRightTV, and during this video with Dana Knowles, we're going to talk about how to identify the right company to pitch your ideas. So don't miss this video. Okay, everybody, I'm back with Dana Knowles. We're going to talk about how to pick out the right companies to pitch your ideas to, because sometimes you're sending your ideas to the wrong company. So Dana, thank you for coming on once again, InventRight TV.
We're back.
Okay, Dana, most of the companies that we've known over the years that like to work with us inventors are saying to us, most of the ideas that we receive from inventors aren't the right fit. They're not the right match, and you're wasting our time. So why is that? What's going on with the match? How do you do it at Gateway? How does the Gators do it? How do you guys match it up?
How do we do it? Well, first of all, we, as an inventor, you have to have a massive list of companies. Like, just start out with a massive list of companies. If you're in, say, like a plumbing product, just start researching all the plumbing brands you can find. And I like to use that word brand instead of manufacturer, because I think it confuses people sometimes, that they think they have to find the factory that manufactures, and we're talking about brands. So we compile this massive list of brands. And then this is
wait a minute. How do I find the brands?
Oh, well, you can go to your local store that you think your product would sell in. Amazon can be a little funky wonky because there's so many brands that they say they're a brand, but they're really not a brand because they're like on the down low or something. I don't know. They're just not there. Like, they're not a brand that would be recognizable maybe on Amazon. Going to trade show websites. Sometimes you can find their vendor list, and that would be a great place to find a brand. Really just doing a basic Google search. At ChatGPT, my best friend, me and Chat, we are friends for life.
Okay, now Dana, you're not going to trade shows every time you need to find a list of companies. And we know that Amazon, you're right, it's a little odd. So how are you doing it?
I use ChatGPT. Hey, give me a list of, and I'm kind of real specific when I talk to Chat. I call him Chat. When I talk to Chat, it's like I'm very specific on what I'm looking for. And then, give me the top 20 or top 30 brands. And
why so many? Why do I have to find so many?
Because, not all those companies are going to be open. So if it's a numbers game. The more companies you have on your list, the more companies we have on our list, the more companies we can reach out to, the better chances we have of getting into more companies.
Okay. At Gateway, guys, if you're not familiar with Gateway, this is where we're doing all the heavy lifting for you guys. We're doing all the work. We're finding the companies. We're making sure your marketing material looks spot on. We're making sure you're ready. And then the Gateway, the Gators go out and find those companies. Okay, Dana, let's talk about this for just a minute. We guarantee we're going to find 10 companies that will review your product. Okay, that are a good fit.
Yeah.
How many companies do you have to reach out to get the 10?
It's not uncommon for us to reach out to 20, 25, 30 companies.
That many?
Yeah.
How long does that take to do all that?
I don't even know. It takes a long time. I will give you a perfect example. I love sharing stories. We have a Gateway client. He's in, we'll just say medical industry. I want to talk about that too. The different category, parent category, then subcategories, because it's a very distinct subcategory of the medical industry. And I started reaching out to a certain company I really wanted to get into. And we date everything over here. So we know when we first started and then the process of everything, because we want to be very transparent with our clients about what we're doing.
Okay.
And I just got into a company today, and I started working on that company in mid-January.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Oh. It is not like I'm just going to work. We call the company. This was a particular company that I called a few times trying to get somewhere, but I couldn't. So I had to go down the LinkedIn route and, got a lot of connections, but I just couldn't get that right person to say, yes, we're open to outside ideas. Send me over what you have. Here's my email. I'll get it to the right person. And that just happened today. That was 6 months.
So that,
6
wow.
months.
So that right person is the person that says, just so everybody's clear, it's the person that says, you found the right person. We're looking at ideas. Send it to me. That's the right person.
Yeah, that is the right person. Those are the messages I live for. You say in the last video, you said, why do you like doing it? That is why I like doing it. When they say we are always looking for innovation. Here's my email. Send it to me.
Okay, that's gold.
That's gold.
gold.
Yeah, it's like hitting the lottery.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I go to my best friend chat, and they give me a list of 30 companies, and I start to look at them. What am I looking for? You talked about the subcategory. What is that all? What are you talking about? What am I looking for?
Well, let's just use my product, the shower caddy, for instance. Housewares, it's in housewares, but there's all these subcategories. Is it in kitchen? And then there's subcategories of kitchen. Is it in bathroom? Subcategories of bathroom. You really have to understand your product, which most inventors will understand their product, but then understand, where does your product fit into that category?
Okay.
And so we get this massive list of companies. We get their website, we get their LinkedIn page, we put their phone number in, everything is in there. But I think that the most important part that inventors don't do is they don't spend enough time researching each company. That means that the first thing I do when I go to a website, go to their about section. I want to read what they're about. What are they about? What do they do? You find out a lot that maybe they appear to be a brand, but they're really just a distributor. And we don't want just distributors, although there's a lot of brands that are both distributors / they do their own products. So you have to kind of always read their about section. And then we spend hours and hours and hours on their website looking at their product line. What materials do they work with? Is it like, for instance, if you're in pets and they only do plush and your product has to be made out of a plastic or something it's probably not a good fit. Or if your product has a little bit of an electronic in it and they do nothing with electronics, not a good fit. Another important thing to look for, price point. So there was a particular client that had a product that would probably sell for, $20, $25. This company, all looking at this company, his product would have been a great fit for them, but all of their products were well over $200, $300, $400. Yeah, not a good fit. They're not doing they didn't do anything under $75.
So Dana, this good fit is really critical, isn't it?
It is critical. It is critical. And I think because, and I'm going to be real honest with all you inventors out there, because inventors don't do that research, a lot of companies just close their doors and say, we don't want to deal with you because you haven't done your research. And that's why they love us. They love us because we are only sending them products that we know are a good fit for them.
But what if, Dana, there's an opportunity that the company's missed? Or what if they're not looking over here, but I've got this great thing, they should do this over here? How does that work?
It doesn't. It doesn't work. You can't, the companies have manufacturing capabilities to do certain things, and they're not going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to go into a different subcategory that they're not in. Yeah.
Okay. So those subcategories, I was telling someone the other day, let me explain these subcategories. It's like, I've got a toy idea. And you go into, it used to be Toys R Us, but let's say it's Walmart now. I don't care. And you go down to see all the toys, and there's all these aisles. Those are categories, kind of.
Right.
You might have dolls. You might have play sets.
Mm-hmm.
You might have puzzles. You might have summer toys. You might have who knows what. But those are subcategories. Not all companies do all those things, but they usually stay in a category. Is that
Yeah, and
correct?
I don't think that there's an industry that doesn't have a subcategory.
Got it.
And that's the important part that we
Okay.
do, is narrowing it down. So when I send a product to a company, I know they know that I have investigated and looked at their product line because it's in their wheelhouse.
So
It's
they,
not,
so
yeah,
you're saving them time and money. In
yeah,
fact, that's the one thing everybody, the reason why we're vetting it very carefully, we have to make sure it is a good fit, because the last thing we want to hear ourselves, what are you doing wasting our time? Because
yeah,
if they hear that from us, they're going to close the door too.
yeah. We are
So
very, very fortunate that we have not heard that back at all.
yeah,
Not
because that takes,
once did somebody ever say, "Why are you sending me that?" I don't do that, because the gators over here really know what they're doing.
yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Okay, Dan, a great topic. We're going to do a couple more of these. Wonderful. You guys, if you're out there, you have to take your time. You have to do the homework. Just because you've got a list of companies, it doesn't mean anything. You need to look very carefully at the category, the price point, the material, their mission statement. All those things add up to one thing. You know what you're doing, and
Mhm.
that's what you need to do. And that's what everybody at Gateway does so well. Dana, thank you for coming on.
You're welcome, Stephen.
Okay, you've got a great product idea and you're not quite sure what to do. Or maybe you've got inventory in your garage because you were selling your product on Amazon and you don't want to continue doing it, but you want someone to help you license your idea to a company to bring it to market for you. We have a new program that's called Gateway, where we do all the work for you. We'll find the right companies and the right people to make sure your product is pitched correctly to get the licensing deal. This new program is called Gateway. If you're interested, please check it out.